today, we're just talking about the 6 integrations that I think we as ProFundCom have found to be incredibly valuable to our clients. And I just thought, why not share this with, our general audience? And the reason we've kind of called this, how do you, the process to de-stress the fund marketing process, it's kind of for 2 reasons. One, because, marketing per se, and email marketing, digital marketing, sending out content, generating content, planning content is quite a stressful, occupational hazard. And there's a reason for that. The reason why marketing has become quite stressful lately is because there are 2 components that are incompatible with each other. The first part is that every time you add a new marketing channel to your marketing mix, so let's say managers, 20 years ago when I started, it was email, then they went to website, then they went to investor portal, and then they went to webinars and Zoom calls and all that stuff, and then physical events, and then you kind of move to more sophisticated things for the marketer, which is about social social engagement. Every time you add a new channel, because of the reporting requirements that you have to produce, whether it's the content production you've got to produce as well, you end up actually becoming more and more inefficient. So what then happens, we've did a study, and it's quite well known, is that every time you add a new marketing channel, your efficiency decreases by 15%. So in essence, by the time you've actually added 6 marketing channels, the ones I've just described, email, website, social, investor portal, webinars, Zoom, and I can't remember what I did say the other one. Once you've added all those together, 6 times 15 is 90%. So you're actually running at 90% inefficiency. So you've only got 10% of your week left to actually do your marketing job. And ultimately, when I say marketing, it is, creating more content, creating more reporting, and ultimately it just becomes a completely stressful process. And so there's one part, that's one element that's incompatible. The second part, and we'll come to this as we talk about integrations and automations, is that marketing has gone from being a creative process where you're creating creative, you're creating brand, you're creating, you're building out subjective value in your fund, but it's actually it has become an engineering process. Is how do you actually build out integrations? How do you connect them via APIs? How do you use Excel? How do you generate reports from Excel? How do you connect this all together? How do you make sure it doesn't fall over? So these are 2 real competing things that most marketers are actually not equipped for. And the reason marketers aren't equipped for, kind of both processes, because, it's the things they didn't teach you in marketing school, which as digital transformation has come to the fore, is exposing a lot of marketers. So what we at ProFundCom have been doing, over the past 20 years, is we've basically taken the concept of, right, how can we use marketing automation, the thing that I'm just talking about right now, all these various marketing channels, integrating them together. How do you take those together and actually from that raise more assets? Because ultimately, I did say there are 2 things that are incompatible in the marketing world, but actually there's a third part to this. And the third part to this is there's nobody out there educating marketers, fund marketers, on how to actually use these various concepts I spoke about to help raise more assets. And we've been doing that at ProFundCom, even though we are a software platform that integrates into various CRMs like Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, Intuit, Backstop, Dynamo, Folio, whatever domain specific CRMs we have in the hedge fund asset management world. We're also educating our audience, and these webinars are kind of part of that toolkit and playbook that we share with our clients and people like yourselves who've joined. And what we've done, is that on a regular basis, pretty much every quarter, we actually generate 10,000 word type reports that are available for download on our website that really talks about, things like aligning your fund distribution and marketing, quick wins, around what you can do as a marketer, focused around, basically raising and retaining AUM. So there's a whole education part to what we do as well as kind of the technology side. And hopefully, these all kind of meld together into a point where, marketers, whether you use our product set or not, are educated and have got the tools to basically, as we move into the current zeitgeist of, digital marketing, digital transformation, are fully equipped to, demand a pay rise and get more budget, because the marketing is so fantastic. So that is kind of where this webinar's come from, a little bit where ProFundCom's come from. And, as marketers, and, I used to work as a fund marketer as well, the reason why, marketing is so important and the process of marketing is so important is that, most marketers, whether they know it or not, have to have kind of 5 pillars built into what they're doing. And we call that the go-to-market strategy. And this kind of applies to, and if you've been on, a marketing course or the mini marketing MBA, it's very similar to that, is that, whatever you do as a fund marketer, you've got to build your fund narrative, you've got to create brand awareness, you've got to do demand generation, you've then got to, track engagement and then build analytics out of that. And in the fund marketing world, that kind of hopefully leads to an investment. So, as a kind of 101 for this webinar and pretty much everything we talk about, it's really, really important that whether you are doing, integrations or automations or just pure content generation, is that internally your marketing is built out in this particular way. And the reason I say that's quite important from a go-to-market strategy is most people will come to you, or not, most fund managers would say, oh, you know what, we're doing marketing, we built a website. And that's only kind of step 1, right? There's so much more to building a go-to-market strategy. There's so much more to be done in, creating brand awareness and demand generation and all those things that you kind of think a shoe company would do, like Nike. It's a fund has to kind of do exactly the same. Yes, just a question coming. Are we recording this? Yes, we are. So once you've kind of understood what a go-to-market strategy looks like, the next part is, right, we've built our go-to-market plan. We know what we're doing from a content creation, brand awareness point of view. What do you do? This is a strategic view, what I'm showing you. What do you do tactically on a day-to-day basis? Well, on a day-to-day basis, you've just got to do 2 things. You've got to create content, analyze it. Create content, analyze it. And as you kind of get into this discipline of creating content, whether it's on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, is actually analyzing how it falls. How do you refine, the subject, the topics, what you're talking about, the manager, the strategy, the attitude to investment, all that kind of stuff feeding into the analytics will then help you go back and actually start build out the content. So once you've actually gone and started doing that, that's where the automation part comes in. So, and that's where it kind of is kind of, when people talk about marketing automation, it's not a day 1 activity. The day 1 activity is all about creating, narrative, brands, all that kind of stuff I spoke about, the kind of strategic stuff. The kind of then, day, let's say 30 is building in the discipline for creating content. And then further down the line, as you build more content, as you do more analytics, you kind of get into the marketing automation element. And what the marketing automation element is, simply put, is for a fund to be front of mind when somebody's thinking to make an investment. Okay? That's how I define it. And the only way you can be front of mind is either by chance, so you just blast out continual, communications and, thought pieces, or you kind of do it strategically depending on where people are in their engagement journey with you. Are they highly engaged on a particular strategy? Have they got medium engagement? Have they got no engagement? Or actually, are they suddenly interested in what you're sending them? So knowing where those various behavioral elements sit is really, really important. And that's what marketing automation is all about. And as I said, marketing automation is kind of the end point of doing really good marketing strategy and tactics. Okay, so that's marketing automation. And what we're going to talk about today, quick time check for the next 20 minutes, is we're going to look at integrating with, Zoom, with your fund document platform or your fund data platform, your investor portals, your websites, social media, with tools like Power BI and Tableau. And the reason behind that is to kind of show you how important these engagements are. One, to do kind of marketing automation side, but also to support the fund distribution and sales process. So before we go on, this slide is probably the most important slide up from today, is you cannot do marketing automation if you don't have integrated systems. And without the integration in place, it is effectively, there is no multiplier, there's no 10x multiplier in your marketing effort. And like I said, if you've got disconnected marketing channels, it actually makes you more and more inefficient. And I know Jeff Bezos kind of says, the minute you stop feeding your team with more than 2 pizzas, that's the beginning of inefficiency. And that's pretty much it as well. And there's another interesting formula as well, is that half of the square root of your team generates 50% of the output. Okay, so that means if you've got a team of 100, 10 of those square root are generating 50% of your output. And have a think about that. Is that the case in your organization? So that's why, it's so important to get all the small pieces, in this case, marketing 6 or 7, really tightly integrated and tied into your whole marketing strategy. So less on the philosophy, more on the to-do. Zoom, ON24, whatever event, whichever event platform you use. The reason why integration is important. So integration with your platform, with your events platform, and let's say you're running events or a webcast, or I know people are going not only online, but we're back to events now as well. Same applies. Yes, you want to integrate into LinkedIn, so you're putting out tweets and posts on LinkedIn and Twitter. You're kind of got your website set up, promoting your event. Those integrations are absolutely critical. However, the most important integration to have from an event that you're running is what we call the remail remind integration. And that integration is basically an integration where you send out a link or a communication relating to your Zoom event or your webinar or your physical event via Cvent or something like that. And what you then do is you build in the integration intelligence to say, who are the people that have opened this email for the invitation but have not registered? Okay, send them down a particular path to send them another email as a reminder. Another remail is basically who are the people that have opened an email, have gone to the landing page, but have not filled out the form. So you can actually send them down another email path by sending them another email. And so very, very quickly now, you're kind of seeing how the integration for, in this case, email is feeding into an automation. And that applies to the website as well, is if you are able to identify people who are coming to your website from an event email, or have actually, who they are because they've registered before, or they're an existing investor, that they've landed on that event page, that you can also send them a reminder or a little, tickler email to say, not that we know you've landed on this page, but did you know we're running this event, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, hopefully very quickly, I'm kind of showing you there is that even a simple integration with your email platform and your content management system for your website, actually that integration kind of builds out these automations. And if you notice that, we've called this email, remail, remind. Remind is also really important because how many people, so right now we've got 73 people on this webinar from about 200. So some of those would probably just go for the replay. Some people probably just said, oh, let's pull that again. Geez, let me just sign up. Otherwise, he'll take offense, which I probably do. And finally, there are people who just plainly forget. And that's fine as well. So it is kind of building out that kind of automation from these integrations. So that is, again, and people that do these automations get 20 to 30% more sign up and more attendance, physical and online events, than they would do if they just send out a blind sequence of emails without any context to it. And I think that's becoming more and more important in people's content strategy, is the ability to have these integrations, have these behavioral elements to it, and then build out the automations. So if you remember that slide where I said, integrations you cannot have, automations you can't have without integration, there's actually a contextual layer that kind of sits in the middle. And that is quite interesting because that is really where kind of AI fits in to how you're generating content. And, top marks for me to throwing in AI there, because if I didn't, I suppose, we wouldn't be trendy. And talking about trendy, what we can actually show you is that, LinkedIn integration with events is reasonably okay. Websites, syndicated content, advertorials, you get reasonably good bang for your buck with that kind of integration. But as I mentioned just now, the biggest bang for your buck, I don't know if those colors should be the other way around, but the biggest bang for your buck is in the email, remail, and remind automation and integration you put together. So that's event platforms for you. That's the kind of integration you need to build there. And the thing is, once that's built, you can just chill, de-stress, right? Because the system just takes care of it. So that's kind of the first part. The second part is a little more complicated. It's a little bit, right? How do you integrate your fun document platform or your fact sheets platform? How do you your fun data platform, whichever one you use, Morningstar, Katosis, Broadridge, and the like? How do you build those integrations? And those integrations, once you've built them again, are incredibly powerful, because what they allow you to do is, one of the big stresses that our clients have is the cleanliness of data. How clean is this data? Is the data right? Has Broadridge published the data correctly? So what you've got the ability to do in our platform, quite uniquely, is that you can actually connect back-end data straight to your email template, as well as the automatic charts that can be generated. Those can be plumbed in automatically as well. So in essence, you've got the ability where you're actually not even coding up or writing out or building out emails. The emails are just generated by your system through the integration. And because it's automatically built out through the integration, guess what? The emails can just be sent out through their own automation. So again, a very, very, powerful way to kind of use integration to, essentially take a task that takes a long time, adds a huge amount of stress to the marketing process, into something that is literally click and go. And, we have clients who just do this, and we were actually inspired to build this out through a client requirement of ours. So this automated, data populations for your templates. Now, this also feeds in another way, this level of data integration, is where you've got the ability to start delivering insights into sales teams. So what you can do is not only can you show your salespeople who are the people they need to call by giving them actionable insights around various behaviors. And then remember I said automation, integration, AI is basically using AI to say, here are the people the sales team needs to call based on particular contextual behavior. Now, what you can also start to do with integrations is connect into investor databases like Preqin, Dakota, and other databases, and actually predict who are the people that are potentially going to invest in your strategy, just based on public data or proprietary data that's available. And we've actually started to do this, and we've actually seen incredibly positive results just from the insights that the behavioral and AI elements, along with the digital data that we're tracking, pulls together to actually make these predictive insights. So that's another way that these integrations work. And whilst is it integration automation? It is to a degree, but the action of the automation goes kind of down to the salesperson. So instead of an email going out, what we're doing here is we're prompting a salesperson to actually make a call to either an existing investor about redemptions or anything like that, or to potentially somebody who's new but is showing huge amounts of interest in a particular strategy. So, and the way this kind of works in real time, this is actually a real-time example of that, is the system, the AI engine sitting behind there, is looking at the data and is highlighting in green who are the people that are worth calling. And you can effectively do a drill down on that person. And with the integration in place, you can actually see, Yvette's been on LinkedIn, they've downloaded some fact sheets, they've engaged on Twitter, they've been on the investor portal, they have been on the website, they have, they've attended a webinar. And what you're able to then do is you can actually drill down further and say, well, how active have they been over time as well? What digital insights can we pull out? So essentially, what I'm kind of showing here is the huge potential of what integration looks like and how that gets delivered to the sales team, purely based around how well the various marketing channels are integrated. Now, a salesperson would just look at this and go, right, my name's Sally. I want to know everyone who's invested in which fund, who are the people I need to call today. But even though that's such a simple, and a premise or a use case for a salesperson, the actual work that kind of goes behind it, even though there's an engineering component to it and how all these systems are configured, this is the new marketing. This is how new marketing works. And this is, what we've been spending our time, educating marketers like those who are on this call, is how best to do. So this is, again, two types of automations there. On the data side, one is automating templates, and the other one is kind of feeding that information into the CRM to help sales teams have better conversations. Okay, so that's kind of the fun document, fun data side. Fun portal integration. So this is one of my favorites, because so many people, this is what an investor portal looks like to them. Something really pretty for existing investors, something they can play with, things that move, things that are shiny, fine wine, things that shine, all those kind of things. And ultimately, it's incredibly useful. I mean, there's no denying that. I think it's something that investors have, definitely taken to as a way to kind of see a fund as being very professional, very, cutting edge. And again, it's a signal to existing investors that, if they've got a good investor portal, surely they must know everything else in the fund must be, top notch as well. And again, it's the reason why I think marketing teams are quite involved in portal design is because it really is a branding exercise, an internal, what we call it internal defensive marketing, is what marketing can you do to existing investors to make them think, to give you subjective value to them. Well, that's all fine and good, but unfortunately for a lot of people, that's where the journey ends. But clients of ours who've kind of built some really clever integrations have actually used the investor portal to track potential redemptions, but at the same time, track potential upsells. And the way they do that, lo and behold, going back to this AI component, is they look at these two lenses, what we call the cross-selling lens and a lens we call the redemption risk. And basically, it's really simple. Here's a report that tells the salesperson, Sally, that of her investors, there are 3 that are redemption risks because they haven't logged into the portal for a large period of time. And you've got cross-selling opportunities for Sally, and those are her investors who are on the investor portal, but are looking at things around the website, around communication that's going out, around funds that they're not invested in. So these actionable insights for Sally around existing investors is an integration that is completely overlooked. The numbers, whenever we go in to talk to people, all they talk about their investor portal is, oh, this is how much it's being used, and look how amazing that is. And it's a little bit like, okay, it's a little bit, but that's not really the number you want to look at. The number you want to look at is all those people who are not engaging with the portal. What are you doing about those? But also you want to know who are the people that are not only looking at the portal, but are looking at other things that they could invest their money with you on if you're a multiple strategy fund. So again, building out that integration, and it's one of those things, why build something if you don't know how to use it? And that's why having this integration into your investor portal is so important, because when you go to your portal company, whoever they are, building this integration is probably more important than having a pretty interface, because this is the kind of data mining, take an old term, that you want to be doing, is to really find a way to get more from your existing investor base. And we have clients that use this, and they use this to an incredible effect. And there's nothing more that a CIO hates is money walking out the door, and that's where this redemption risk element came from. And cross-selling, if your sales team aren't doing cross-selling and you're a multiple strategy fund and you can do that from a compliance point of view, this is a place where your sales team can definitely get actionable insights. Okay, so that's the investor portal integration and why it's so important. I think the website integration, the reason why that's important, it's because the investor journey before they get to a decision is pretty much all online, and whether they're looking for thought leadership pieces, online events, they're checking you out on social media, building their awareness and consideration, which are very markety subjects. They're far more educated when they get to you. So that's why, the integration with the website is so important, because what it allows you to do, it allows you to really understand a profile of people visiting your website. And once they're identified, as I showed you in the timeline before, because the investor is faceless, because their journey is non-linear, because they're more complex and they're more demanding, when they get to you, they are far more well educated about your fund, about your investment strategy, your attitude to risk and your performance than historically they were previously. And that's really, really important when you're kind of building out your website and building out integrations. So where at various stages are people on your website. And at that point, that's where that integration builds out automations. So what do you as a fund marketer want to deliver to people coming to your website at various stages of their journey with you? And it could be a 3-year journey, a year journey, a 6-month journey. building out the kind of automations to say, well, if somebody has followed this journey, we should make sure we're delivering this content to them. If they've done this journey, but it's over a short period or a long period of time, then we can deliver this type of content. And whether that content is an email, an invitation, or anything like that, that all has to be kind of pre-built before you kind of build out this automation. So I know lots of people want to be marketing automation type people, and they look at a slide like this, which is our product, and say, oh yeah, that's what I want. It's like buying a super bike, right? You can't ride a super bike without knowing how to ride a motorbike, like a simple motorbike. And this is kind of that. And the reason I'm using that example is because I think there's legislation being passed after a certain cc of motorbike, you have to actually pick it up from a learning center so they can make sure you know how to use that. And I know that because I'm an aging, bald, middle-aged man wanting to buy a motorbike. So there we go. So again, this looks all nice, but you've definitely got to do all the kind of legwork around brand awareness, demand generation before you get to this stage. But then these integrations with your website is incredibly powerful. So if you are being sold, oh, marketing is just a website and some pretty pictures and all our founders looking all nice and macho, that's really not it. There's a lot more to it. So that's your website, when to do something. The next one on the integration side is social media. And this is a slight diversion from integration, but the reason I brought this slide up is social media, despite all the reluctance of managers to use it, is probably one of the most effective channels. People do talk about SEO, and SEO is slow and hard to do. Ads in the fund space is, it's quick to do, expensive, but to get it right, again, is incredibly hard. LinkedIn, investment platforms, social direct messaging, providing valuable content, as I kind of said before, is probably the medium tail sales process to really engage on a one-to-one basis. And again, one of the big trends we've seen post-pandemic is so many managers are actually using LinkedIn as a channel to engage with prospective investors. And the reluctance of people to not want to be contacted has declined. So social media is a very, very strong place to go. And yes, you do want to integrate with your social media channels. And the reason for that is exactly what I said in the previous for the webinar, for the websites, is so you can engage with people at various engagement points on their journey with you on social. And that could be when they connect with you, that could be if you've got something interesting to say and you want to distribute a thought piece. We get, our engagement on social is 4 orders of magnitude more than we get with email, and our email engagement is incredibly high as well. So social done correctly, and that, remember, is a one-to-one connection. So it just needs to be short and sweet and not overly filled with everything about your fund that you ever needed to tell people. Right. So finally, just overshot a little bit. Data and integrating with Power BI. So integration with Power BI or any other visualization tool is absolutely critical for marketing teams, because it's just a way for C-level, C-suite execs to consume data. And here is one, we've built earlier. Again, this is all real time. And what this is showing, it's showing marketing activity over a period of time and split out by inflows based on marketing activity. You can build these kind of reports out, these kind of dashboards. You've got a way to actually see what's the global reach of your fund, what's the global engagement with your fund. You can drill down into various countries. What funds are performing better than others as far as from an engagement point of view. Surprise, surprise, it's ESG followed by a tech fund. You can do analysis, so you can build out your own ROI components to say, you know, month on month, are you kind of ahead of your curve or behind your curve in the month before? So all these kind of data visualizations, integrations are, again, so useful. And again, these reports are all built in real time. So you're not sitting down at the first week of first week of the month, when you've got, you know, estimates, NAVs, and all that kind of stuff to kind of prepare for, to then cobble together reports from these multiple channels, plus your accounting system, plus, you know, your administrative system. This is what integration looks like. This is what integration looks like from the kind of CEO, C-suite level, and what the integration looks like from a sales team's level is this is what it looks like. And this is really the real power of, you know, getting integrations right, understanding how they connect together, and once they're connected together, how to deliver it to basically your two key stakeholders, the people that, you know, pay your pay rise and your budget, the C-suite, and those that are kind of the people that how a whole business is measured, the sales team and AUM. So those are kind of the two parts to you know, how, you know, you use integration to, I suppose, just de-stress the whole process of being a marketer, right? So I hope everyone found that useful. If you are interested, there is a replay of this going out, probably over the weekend. And if you ever want to chit chat about your own marketing, there is a book available. The second edition is actually coming out, so I'd hold off now from buying that, on how you market to the invisible investor. And you can book an hour with me should you want to. So hopefully you all found that useful. Thank you everybody for staying on. I think there are 2 people dropped out. I'll find out who you are. And but other than that, if you've got a couple of questions have come in, feel free if you've got any questions. Got a couple of questions come in now. Okay. What are the best tools to do integration with? Okay. So it just depends whether you can program with APIs, have a team of developers in your fund that are happy to kind of help. If you're not, a tool I recommend is Zapier. Zapier allows you to connect all what I spoke about today into your CRM. It allows you to connect into from LinkedIn. It allows you to do a whole raft of things, so your data is available in one place. Or, you know, ProFundCom, our product, it kind of does that out of the box. So yeah, if you were to use a tool to do this, as opposed to a platform, then Zapier is a good one to use. Again, the challenge of using Zapier or APIs is that whatever you build has to be maintained, and that can be a challenge. So not only do you end up not being a marketer, you end up being a programmer. But again, that's not a bad thing, because, you know, like I said, the world of the new marketer is definitely somebody who knows, you know, both those skills. So yeah. Okay, I've got another question come in here. Have you built integrations for, sorry, David says, have you integrations from LinkedIn to Salesforce? A really, really good point. Previously, the integration between Salesforce and LinkedIn was really, really good. Now, because Microsoft own LinkedIn, they've made their API incredibly restricted. So the answer is yes, you know, there are integrations we've built out from LinkedIn to Salesforce. But again, it's the kind of use case that really is important. And the use case that most people are kind of, the 2 use cases is, one, are you connecting from Sales Navigator into Salesforce? The answer is yes. Are you able to know a little bit more about them if they're your first degree contact or second degree contact? The answer is that's not available anymore. It may be available with screen scraping, but that's, from what I understand, not available in a kind of vanilla element. But what it is useful for is actually the other way around, is that if you've got anonymous people that are engaging with you digitally, and then they identify themselves, connecting them, that new data, into Salesforce from LinkedIn, that's quite a powerful use case as well. So when you suddenly, your unknown unknowns become known knowns, that's where that data is really quite useful. But again, the depth of the data is not as good as it would be if you're either within LinkedIn or using Microsoft Dynamics, which is Microsoft's ultimate play to to kind of take business away from Salesforce. So I hope that was useful, David. Got another question from Anonymous. If you had one integration from what you spoke about, which one would you pick? I don't know. Let me have a think. I would say, wow, that kind of caught me there. Let me have a think. I would say it would be, I would say from all of them, it would be the investor portal one. That's the one I would, if you've got investor portal, that's the one I'd look at, because ultimately there is potentially in that integration, there's money walking in and there's money walking out. So that's worth doing. And how clean does and again, this is all down to how clean your CRM data is and how clean your investor data is, which I hope they are, and kind of bringing those all together. So yeah, good question, Anonymous. I like that. So there we go. Okay, so I'm just checking. I've got a few more minutes. I've got 2 minutes left. So I'm just holding on to see if anyone's got any other questions. I've still got about 50 people in the room, so there is some interest. Any more questions? Oh, I got a question. The question is, yes, all these screen grabs are from our product, ProFundCom. Like I said, we're the only ones that kind of display this data in this particular way. But you know, like I said, we're not pushing our product. We're just trying to kind of like educate people to say, you know, once you've done these integrations, this is the outcomes you want. Don't do integrations for the damn sake of doing integrations. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you ever so much for staying on. If there are no more questions, the replay will be sent with my email. And you know, if you've got any further questions on the subject, just let us know. Okay, everybody, have a great weekend, however far away it is from you, from where you're dialing in. Thank you all very much. Bye for now.